Anthropic just built the smartest model on the planet and made it afraid of its own shadow. That is the story of Claude 4 shipped late June 2025. Opus, top of every benchmark that matters. Anthropic called it their most capable system ever. And they are right. It scores higher on reasoning, on code generation, on multi-step planning. The weights are genuinely better. So why are paying users on the Pro plan furious? Because capability and usability are not the same thing, and Anthropic appears to have sacrificed the second to market the first. The villain here is not artificial intelligence. The villain is safety theater, the practice of layering so many alignment guardrails onto inference that the model spends more compute deciding what not to say than actually helping you. Anthropic built constitutional AI to keep models honest. Noble goal. But in my analysis, what they have actually built with Claude 4 is a brilliant assistant that flinches every time you hand it a task with any edge to it. And the evidence is everywhere. Point 1. Over-refusal is not a bug. It is a design choice, baked into the reinforcement learning from human feedback pipeline. Within days of Claude 4 launching, Reddit, X, and the Anthropic developer forums lit up with users posting screenshots of the model refusing to write fiction with conflict, declining to summarize legal documents because they contained sensitive topics, and hedging so hard on medical questions that the output was less useful than a Google search from 2019. These are not hallucinations. These are alignment constraints firing on normal prompts. The RLHF reward model has been tuned so aggressively toward caution that the system now treats ambiguity as danger. The real-world consequence is simple. Developers and writers who were shipping production work with Claude 3.5 Sonnet are now downgrading back to it because the older, dumber model actually does what they ask. Point 2. Inference latency tells a story the benchmarks hide. Claude 4 Opus is slower, not by a little. Users are reporting noticeably longer time-to-first token on complex prompts compared to 3.5 Sonnet. And the widely held theory is that the expanded chain of thought reasoning plus the additional safety classification layers are eating compute before a single useful word hits the screen. When your model thinks harder about whether it should answer than about what the answer is, you have an architecture problem. That overhead is not free. It costs Anthropic compute, it costs users time, and it costs everyone trust. Point 3. The business model contradiction. Anthropic charges $20 a month for Claude Pro. They just raised a massive funding round valuing the company at north of $60 billion. Their pitch to investors is that Claude is the model enterprises can trust. But trust cuts both directions. If I am an enterprise customer deploying Claude 4 through the API, and my customer-facing application starts refusing benign requests because the safety layer flagged a keyword, I do not have a trust problem with AI. I have a trust problem with Anthropic. The model that scores highest on safety benchmarks and lowest on user satisfaction is not a product. It is a research paper with a subscription fee. If you have been watching this channel, and you know this is the kind of analysis the industry tries to bury, subscribe. We are going to keep saying it whether they like it or not. Now here is the counterargument, and it is a strong one. Anthropic will tell you, and their supporters will tell you, that over-refusal is a solvable calibration problem. That Claude 4 just launched. That they will tune the safety boundaries over the coming weeks. That it is better to ship too cautious and loosen than to ship too loose and deal with a PR disaster. And I will grant that this is a reasonable engineering position in a vacuum. But we do not live in a vacuum. We live in a market where OpenAI, Google, and a dozen open-source alternatives are shipping models that actually do what users ask on the first try. Every week Anthropic spends calibrating is a week paying. Users spend discovering that Llama or Gemini does not argue with them when they ask for a bash script. The calibration argument also ignores a deeper issue. If your alignment methodology systematically produces models that are less useful at launch than their predecessors, the methodology itself is the problem. You do not get credit for planning to fix what your own process broke. So here is where we land. Claude 4 is the most intelligent model Anthropic has ever released. It might be the most intelligent model anyone has released this year. And it is, in my analysis, a worse product than the model it replaced. That is not a paradox. That is a warning. Intelligence without willingness is decoration. Are you using Claude 4 right now, or did you already go back to Sonnet? Pick one. Tell me why.